were talking about a little bit earlier too. When exactly are you going back to Seattle?
March. So I'll be here as soon as my pre-draft program finishes. I'll go back up, then I'll come back beginning of June to start my NFL thing. I do an annual NFL retreat every year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right in July. So Life After definitely giving this retreat. This is our 4th annual retreat. Yeah. So we do it every year. We do we open up with a welcome reception. Just kind of celebrate all the NFL guys, and we have special guests there and all types of stuff. So it's always a good vibe. Eat dinner, food, drinks, and then the second day and the third day are the actual like training, film breakdown and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fun.
For sure.
So one thing I've actually been wanting to do like eventually too is do like live interviews. So like on the field, on the court, like at all levels too. So another thing too is I kind of want to touch like, I feel like so many people that play sports, it could be from high school to pro, you know what I'm saying, to from college to pro. So I even think certain like high school teams I could go and you know talk to them too. So I've been thinking that as well. So yeah.
That's a good idea. That's something we can put together.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I want to start, you know, even just on Instagram putting like the reels together, like doing a little courtside, field side, whatever it is, interviews. So that's something I'm definitely going to do. Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. That's really cool though. So you said that's been going on for 4 years? Yeah, this is the 4th annual NFL retreat. We've been blessed to be able to scale it bigger and better every year. Last year, like I said, we had a welcome reception at Mile, Miami. It's like a nice restaurant out in Brickell. Okay. That's a nice place. I love that place, actually.
Good food, good vibes. They gave me the mic, so I was on the mic. So I was doing my thing. But
you on the mic? Okay.
On the mic.
Okay.
So
what you told them?
I had to talk to the peoples, man.
Okay.
Just let them know that I'm just appreciative for everybody even being here for us doing this. 'Cause I started off years ago at the park, training kids at the park for free. You know what I'm saying? To go from being at the park and then COVID hit. When COVID came, man, we were jumping fences just to try to get in somewhere to train. You know what I'm saying? So, from that to being at Mile 6 years later, you know what I'm saying? So it was really just a celebration, man. Just really just reflecting the moment. Appreciate it a little bit because I suck at that. I try to be more intentional of just being present.
Like being present in the moment?
I suck at it. My mind is always what's next, you know what I'm saying?
So is it kind of, because that's actually kind of something I really like a little bit have been struggling with a bit lately, is like, I'm just always in my head a little bit in terms of like, it's just like, it's like you said, it's just always something, I'm always overthinking something. Right. So is it, like you said, is it that, or is it something else do you think that's kind of distracting you in terms of not being present?
For me, and it's funny because I'm pretty sure a lot of people in my life will say like, I'm the guy like nothing's ever good enough, right? Okay. So my mindset is like I'm always trying to improve something. Every time I'm always trying to innovate, and I'm always trying to like scale something to another level. So as I'm sitting here going through year 3 of the retreat, like literally day 1, I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing for year 4. So I ain't even taking the time to bat 100%. I'm already in year 4. You know what I'm saying? So this is usually how my mind works. You know what I'm saying? So, but I've been definitely working on just being more present in the moment and enjoying it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Eat a little fruit. So.
Okay. No, for real, because I feel like that's very important too.
It is.
Because if not, like, it makes time go by a lot faster too.
Right.
That's one thing I've noticed as well. Time flies by a lot faster with that as well, and time is very valuable.
And that's the only thing we'll get back.
Okay.
Time is the only thing we'll get back. So it's the most valuable thing.
No, for sure. So, May, these are both rolling, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's perfect, actually. So, with that being said, let's get into the episode, y'all. Hi, y'all. I'm your host, Aaliyah Lee, and welcome back to another episode of the Life After podcast. This is a very safe space where we have former and current athletes come and discuss their journeys throughout athletics. So stay tuned and keep following us on all social medias at the Life After Pod, and hit the like and subscribe button for me. Please leave your comments below as well. So with that being said, also happy February, happy Black History Month. We'll get into that a little bit as well, but I have to definitely start it off by saying that. And yeah, so with that being said, let's get into today's guest. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. So
How are you?
First and foremost, I'm very gracious and appreciative of having this opportunity to sit here with you. So super excited about it.
And vice versa, thank you so much for coming today.
Definitely.
So with that being said, for the people who don't know who you are, give them your introduction.
So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Javon Gopie. I am an NFL consultant and I also own a sports performance company. A couple of my social media platform handles, you can find me at the Sack Sensei on Instagram, Twitter. But my goal is just continue to empower the youth, whether it's professional, college, or even the kids, man. But my goal is just continue to teach guys moves. I want to continue to teach guys how to get the quarterback. Sacks is what get you paid. So, that's my goal. Teach guys how to get sacks.
So is that the insight behind
the name?
Behind the name?
Yeah. Sack Sensei. Mm-hmm. That's the goal. My goal is, we all know from my guys, like I said, football fans, football athletes, if you want to get paid, you got to get sacks. So if you want to get sacks, Sack Sensei is a place to be.
Okay. So tap in, y'all. Tap in with him for sure. Thank you again so much for being here today. Thank you. I appreciate that. So as he said, his Instagram handle, that's actually how I ended up seeing you as well, as well as KB's episode as well. So with that being said, I feel like from what I saw on your page that you're a trainer. Right. But from my experience within being an athlete and things like that, I figured that you had played before as well. Right. So, and talk to me a little bit about your experience with football.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
Your experience in football and playing as a player, yes.
That's interesting because I really barely ever talk about my days because I'm so blessed and fortunate to work with so many great athletes today, from all of my guys, man, from Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Larry Ogunjobi. I've been more than fortunate to work with a great group of guys. But who was Javon as a football player?
Yes.
Okay, I'll be honest. I'll be transparent here since it's transparent space. Shit. I don't know.
No, you're good. You're good. Like I said, this is a very safe space. Okay. So yes.
Man, I'm being completely honest with you. I was that guy.
Okay.
I was that guy. I was coming out of state. Let's talk about high school. Coming out of high school, I grew up here in South Florida. I attended Everglades High School. Shout out to the Swamp Boys, man, the Gators. We started something special. Unfortunately for us, our coach ended up leaving before I graduated high school. So, we had some great years, but we didn't get a chance to really build. I would say the culture there. You see what I'm saying? Like we started some good stuff, but so again, I played at Everglades High School, class 2009. Coming out of high school, I was first team All State, first team All County. My opinion, the best defensive lineman in the country. Coming out that year, man, when I think about me as a high school player, I was I grew up. I'm visually impaired. Right. So
okay. So for the people who don't know what exactly that would mean, can you just give us a
visually impaired? So based by the state, I'm considered legally blind. Right.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I don't drive. I'm Mr. Uber everywhere.
So I also like if you it would have. So do you even have a license?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
State ID.
Okay. So
State
yeah.
ID.
Okay.
State ID. So like I said, I don't drive. I'm visually impaired. Mr. Uber everywhere. I got a driver. But it ain't so bad now. I used to be mad about it back in the days.
I bet now you like.
You know what I'm saying? I don't mind hopping in that back seat.
Don't mind too much, okay?
So, but yeah. So, I would say for me, I grew up with a lot of challenges.
Okay.
Right. And
so real quick, to give you a little bit more direction on that. What made you with that as well? What made you get into football in the first place? Like, what kind of inspired you?
Basketball was my first sport, actually.
Okay.
Basketball was my first love.
Okay.
So I was a diehard Heat fan. I grew up again, like I said, here in South Florida. So those Brian Grant days, I was a huge Heat fan. Basketball was my first love. So sports was always a part of my life.
Yeah.
Family members played, brother played. So sports are always in our background. I think football was just what I was good at. You see what I'm saying? So that's where that kind of transcended. But yeah, football was what I was good at. Basketball was my first love. Football was what I was good at. That paid the bills at the time.
Right.
So
I feel like a lot of football. I hear a lot of football players that I speak to. A lot of them started off with basketball.
Right.
And then went to football, and then I feel like a lot of basketball players started playing football and went into basketball. I hear that all the time.
So,
I feel like
within training, a lot of that does translate. You see what I'm saying? So, between both sports, cross training, I definitely encourage all athletes, especially young athletes, to play multiple sports. You see what I'm saying? Especially if you're a football player, I encourage you to go out there and play soccer, play basketball, because a lot of those different techniques and movements translate to what we do. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah, basketball was my first love. I wasn't the greatest, but like I said, football was what I was great at. And so to go back into the point of what we talked about, I grew up with a lot of challenges, so I was always angry, right? So football was just that space for me to kind of go out and express myself. My visual impairment didn't affect me in football, so it was a space where I felt equal.
Because I know a lot of time with football, there's there can be specific restrictions.
Right.
Yeah. So that didn't.
No, it didn't affect me
at all. Okay.
It was more so when it comes to reading for the most part.
Okay, so affect you more as a student than 100%. An athlete. Okay.
So again, for me, grew up with a bunch of challenges. Like I feel like today where I am, this is easy. Like the things that I went through growing up as a child, not having the resources or the support, that was tough stuff. So I was always angry, and football just gave me that space where I was able to go out there and let it all out.
Okay, so it was your outlet, pretty much.
100%.
Okay.
And I love to embarrass people. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that was like I hated to win more than I loved to. I was one of those guys. I hated to win. I hated to lose. I'm sorry.
Okay, I was like,
hated to lose more than I loved to win. Yeah, I hated to lose more than I loved to win, and I took a passion in embarrassing people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That was something. It just all worked and made sense.
That's a lot of drive, yeah, for sure. And remind us of your position that you played.
I played defensive line, so all across the defensive line. I toted that ball a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That was my first love. You know what I'm saying? I was a running back in my head. You know what I'm saying? I got some carries in college though.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I did get a few kicks off. For all my former defensive linemen who have aspirations of toting that ball, I did it, dog. So we can keep doing it. Just keep dreaming. Keep dreaming. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if you ask me, I was a running back who played defensive line.
Okay. For the people who, because we do have some viewers, I think too, that they might watch football or are into football but not understand it as much.
Right.
Give me like a little bit of detail on your position.
So defensive line, what is a defensive lineman? A defensive lineman, our job is to affect the quarterback. And the quarterback is the person who throws the ball. The quarterback controls the offense. So our job is to elude the offensive lineman. There's somebody trying to block us. And defensive linemen are some of the best athletes in sports. Okay. Because we got to be able to elude somebody. We got to be able to cover receivers. We got to be able to run, tackle. So defensive linemen are some of the best athletes in sports. And our job is to get past the blocker and get to the quarterback. Gotcha. And we go out there and hunt. Okay. That's what we do. We hunt. Yeah, we hunt.
Okay. So getting back, we were talking about your high school a little bit. So but also because you were talking about basketball. So real quick, when did you transition from basketball into football?
I would say I tried out for the basketball team almost every year, and I didn't really get anything out of that until maybe like my senior year of high school. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I did it for the love of it. I did it for the love, but football was always. I mean, I did multiple sports. I ran track, wrestled, basketball, football. So it was whatever.
Were those also outlets for you at the time being as well?
Yeah. Okay. I think anything which just gave me a space to anything that made me feel normal or equal. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I sang as well. So I was in the choir in high school. So all of those things, whatever put me in a place where my eyes didn't really hinder me, I was all for it.
Good for you. Very versatile in a lot of different areas. But you said you don't sing a little bit anymore, no?
I mean, it depends on the day.
Okay.
Depends who you asking. You know what I'm saying? So actually, I just found out a couple of days ago, my high school choir, our director is I think it's like his 25th year anniversary. Oh wow! So he's like inviting some of his alumni to like sing out in New York.
You going?
I would like to. I gotta check my schedule. Okay. But I would like to. I would like to be there. That'd be dope.
That'd be cool. Are you in touch with anybody from there?
Or no? Yeah, I got a few people I went to high school with. We still communicate. Every now and then, but not for sure.
Oh, no, that's good. So, talk about so you also played in college as well. Yeah. So, can we talk about a little bit your transition from high school into college?
If you ask me, it was seamless. Again, I was, so from high school to college, again, I was number one in the nation, number one in the state at the position. Okay. But being only 5'10", I went through a lot of politics when it came to recruiting in football. You know what I'm saying? So, at the position, they looking for guys who usually like 6'2", taller. Like that's the norm for the position. Okay. It's changed now. You know what I'm saying? Since I've been on high school 15 years, but it's definitely changed. It's come a long way. But at that time, recruiting was very difficult for me. It was very difficult. It didn't matter what my stats were, size, speed, weight. It was just there's a standard, and I didn't meet the particular criteria. Okay. So I went through a lot when it came to recruiting, man. I ended up going. I probably played every level of college football, from junior college all the way up. Oh wow! And for me, it was more so just trying to chase something I feel like I deserved. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I was good enough to play in the SEC. You know what I'm saying? But due to some of the restrictions that I had to go the long route. But when I sit back and reflect on it today, attending 4 different colleges.
Okay. So talk about that a little bit.
man, I went again almost every level of college football I played, from junior college all the way up. Junior college, for all my guys who ever played junior college, we brothers, man. I salute you because everybody don't make it out of junior college. Like it's a lot of talent in those leagues, but it's no resources.
Right.
So playing from junior college, going out to California, I played at Chaffey College, and ended up being freshman All-American in junior college. I probably should have stayed 2 years. I was a little homesick after my first year, so I ended up leaving there and going to Lane College in Tennessee. But I probably should have stayed. We had a great class of guys that I played with those years. But yeah, again, I wish I had more direction.
Yeah,
I didn't have any direction, so I felt more so. Yeah, so again, playing every level of college football, I wish I had more direction. Again.
When you say direction, do you mean in general, or like specifically in terms of coaches, in terms of, I mean, nowadays too, with social media too, that's probably a big help as well. So stuff like that, or is there something
really
more
just
specific?
Really just somebody to sit down and tell me, just stay at one school. You know what I'm saying? Because the NFL.
So more of like a mentor
100%,
in a way.
100%. Because the NFL, they pay scouts $100,000 a year to go out and find talent. So talent can be found anywhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But at the time, the stigma around college football, if it ain't Power 5, you ain't no good. You know what I'm saying? So I was definitely grew up in those times where, if you played anything outside of Power 5, it was embarrassing. You see what I'm saying? So,
would you say that's the biggest difference now between the college recruitment process or just football in general?
I think a little of that still does come into play where guys, can be very insecure about what schools they attend because it's not, what everybody talks about.
Right.
But college football's come a long way. The portal has changed a lot. NIL deals have changed a lot. So I think guys have become more susceptible of and accepting, just playing football and just making plays. Like I said, the NFL pays these coaches a lot of money to go out and find them. Right. So you can be, if you have talent, you can be found anywhere for sure.
Speaking of, you just touched on NIL a little bit. So do you have any comments or thoughts on NIL since we're talking about it? Since we're at it.
My comments on NIL.
With your experience.
If you don't put it on film, it don't mean anything. So a lot of these kids understand, you have a platform now to make money,
right?
But you ain't gonna make the money if you're no good. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta put it on film first. So I would say focus more on making the money actually the product and putting it on film,
right?
And everything else will come. Like there's plenty of great people. Shout out to my girl Sydney Anderson. She's a marketing manager. Works with a lot of athletes. So you can find people to find you the money,
right?
But you got to produce.
Exactly.
And this industry is all about production. So you got to get out there. You got to get stats, accolades, and then from there, it'll all take care of itself.
For sure. Okay. So, where'd you end college? Like your last years of college, where did I
end college? I finished at Florida Tech.
Okay.
Melbourne,
And how'd you like it over there?
It was cool. I didn't get an opportunity to play my last year. I had an AC separation. I had an AC separation, and also my son was born. So yeah, I had to make some decisions on what I prioritize in those moments. So yeah, I didn't finish playing my last year. Do I care? To this day, no. Really, I'm over it. I found success in what I do now, and I'm content and happy in that. But at the time, it was a little tough. That transition from right after college to what's next.
Right.
Then I did struggle for sure.
Right. So hold on, because I'm like, wait, hold on. Let me go back a little bit then, because so was it your fourth? You said your fourth year is when you had your son.
My fifth year.
Your fifth year of college. Okay.
So my daughter was born my sophomore year. I have 2 kids.
Oh, okay. So we'll go back to that then. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because then I want you to speak on if you're comfortable with it as well. Just managing, having a child as well through college, because college in general as an athlete and being a student athlete, is a lot in itself. So never mind managing the relationship probably or whatever the relationship was at the time being and the child as well. So if you have any advice as well, to touch on that. Just too. So sophomore year, you said you had your daughter.
Yeah, my daughter was born my second year of college. I met her mom. I went to school at Lane College in Tennessee. We were great friends at the time, and had no idea. I wasn't thinking about kids. You know what I'm saying? But I was irresponsible. You know what I'm saying? My mom never had to talk with me. About all she told me was when I left the college, don't come back with no babies. That's all she said. We ain't had no real conversation around it. Okay. So I did the opposite and came back with my beautiful daughter. She just turned 12 last week. So I'm a vet in the game. Right now.
Congratulations for being a father.
For sure.
Good father.
Appreciate
We We appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all. You also have some friends in the background as well. So if you guys hear a little bit of people in the background as well, just so y'all know. But yeah, so then did that affect your game at all?
In a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me way more drive. It gave me much more purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in a positive way it did, and just gave me something else to play for.
Right.
So it took me Super Saiyan. I went next level.
Yeah. Like,
for me, like all the guys who are successful in sports, it's a mindset.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So
definitely.
That was the biggest thing for me. Like I had purpose, and I knew, or I felt like this is the way out.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to max it out as far as I can. Mm-hmm. And like I said, unfortunately, I didn't get the opportunity to. But again, I was able to transition from there, and here we are today.
Right. So was it the same thing when you had your son as well? More motivation as well?
No.
Or was it different?
that was a total different.
Okay.
That time. So I became a single dad.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a single dad for a while. My son's mom was incarcerated when he was 6 months.
Okay.
So yeah, I became a single dad at that point. So again, I had to make a decision on, in respect to my priorities, what meant the most to me. Mm-hmm. And I had an opportunity to finish school and play, but I thought that was the most important thing. So it definitely drove me, but not in respect to sports, but more so of like life and growing up being a man.
Yeah, for sure.
I made these decisions to have kids, so I got to take care of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it definitely pushed me in a different way outside of sports. Sure.
Kind of like you didn't have an option but to grow up at that point. And literally life forced you kind of to do it at that point 100%. Too. Okay, wow.
Well, I don't even want to say force, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a decision.
It's a choice, yeah.
Because I know a lot of guys or people or men, women who have children and choose to do other. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was a decision I made, and I can sit back 12 years later and I can say I'm okay with the decision I made. For sure, I'm definitely happy about it.
Most definitely. So we'll definitely get into now that I know that as well. I didn't know that, y'all. So now that I know that as well too, when we get into more Black History Month as well, we'll get into you being a father as well, because you said he's a great father as well. I'd love to hear that as well. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into your transition from college into after college. At this point, give me a little bit of like where your headspace was at, right. Where you were where your position was in life in general, what your goals were, in terms of your future after college.
Right. So for me, like I said, my son was born my last year of college, so I was in a place of, like I said, I became a single dad. His mom was incarcerated, so that was probably the lowest point of my life.
Okay.
To be honest with you, because I didn't know how to get out of what I was in. Like, I'm like, okay, if I want to be able to work and make money, I got to put my son in daycare, right? But
it's not cheap.
How can I afford daycare if I don't have a job?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I found myself in this place of, like I was in like a place of demise, and I didn't know what was next. So again, that was probably my lowest point of my life. I was just out there, just doing stuff. You see what I'm saying? Mm. And but at some point, I think I kind of hung my hat on faith. I grew up in the church. My mom had us in the church every Sunday growing up, and I knew at some point I was like, obviously my direction ain't it. It's not working. So I want to kind of lean back on what I kind of knew, and I just was faithful, man. I got on my knees and prayed every night. I remember one night I was putting my son to sleep, and I was sitting on the floor. I had him in my arms. He might have been maybe like 8 months. You know what I'm saying? I would just start tearing. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm like, I don't know how to get out of this. You know what I'm saying? And that was the moment. That was the pivotal moment for me where I was like, I got to create change. And that's when I started to manifest today. You know what I'm saying? Because growing up with a disability, like I said, I had a lot of challenges growing up. It was very tough. But I knew that I was somebody special. Like I knew that all along. Like I knew in the back of my head I was a superhero. You know what I'm saying? Like I always knew that. So I'm a person of no regrets, and I'm very appreciative for every experience I had, because I wouldn't be the man I am today without it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
I think the same exact way for sure.
So yeah, I definitely can reflect on those moments sitting there in a dark room, tearing up. So when I got my first house, I sat back and I reflected on that, and I'm like, my son was like, Dad, I never thought I would have this. Because at the time,
oh my God,
at the time, I moved back in with my mom. I was with my mom at the time. She was a huge support.
So you moved in with her. So after college, you moved back in with your mom.
100%.
Okay, and you were in Tennessee. You said, correct? Your last year?
No, I was in Melbourne.
Okay,
Yeah.
So you moved. So was that a hard move, or did you just move straight after?
Yeah, it was right after.
Okay.
Right after. I said, at that point, I'm like, okay, this football is not going to pay the bills, so I went back to her house. Again, my son's mom got incarcerated not long after that, so again, she was a huge support.
Mm-hmm.
You know, her and a lot of family members from my side and hers played a huge part in just building that community at the time.
Right.
So yeah, after she was incarcerated, I had to figure it out. I had to figure out what was next, and I leaned on my faith, and again, I started to manifest what it is that I wanted. So I worked, a couple different jobs. I worked security for a couple of years. I worked as a behavioral tech at high school. I was substituting.
Okay.
I coached high school football for about 5 years. I did that starting like 2015. So I coached as I was building my business. I was coaching at the same time.
Okay.
So they kind of worked hand in hand. And so that transition, I didn't know what was next. I loved the weight room. Like I loved to lift weights. Even in high school, I was always a gym guy. In college, I was always a guy getting extra work in the weight room. So I knew training was something. It was who I was. Like I didn't find it; it found me. It really kind of fit to who I was as a person. Like accountability guy, a hard worker, consistent. Yeah. So it kind of played, into who I was. So it was kind of seamless. Right. I didn't even know what was happening when it happened. Okay. But when I sit back and reflect on it now, it was a seamless transition for sure.
Really? Okay. So that's good because I feel like you didn't have. Was there a period of time at all through that where you were like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do? Or like,
that moment she went to jail.
The career. Okay.
Yeah, that moment she went to jail because again, at that point, I was fresh out of college, and I didn't have a job. Yeah. So again, I started to work security. That was my first real job. Like
was security?
Yeah, playing sports. Playing sports. That's something you don't really do because sports take up so much of your life. So right. Playing sports my entire life, I never worked an actual real 9 to 5. So I started working at Cafe Iguanas. It was a club out here in Pines. That was my first job.
Oh my God, that's crazy!
Yep. Wow. Cafe Iguanas. I worked security there on and off for about 4 years, and I was just trying to get to the money. Yeah. I had to pay bills, so I did whatever I could. Well, let me not say that. I did whatever I could. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Let's not put that out there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But,
not too much. Not too much.
You know what I'm saying? But within reason, I was trying to get it by any means.
So would you say, first things first, Cafe, it's funny you said Cafe Iguanas, because I don't know if you've seen, but I actually work currently at BB Sundays.
Okay. Oh, so, that's the new Cafe Iguanas.
That's where they started it. So 100%. When you just said that was hilarious. Yeah, so because I always hear that's where they started it.
And it was a vibe.
Well. Yeah.
It was a huge, it was probably like one of the biggest clubs in South Florida. Space. It was like a grocery store, I think it was. Formerly before that. So it was huge, man. It was always a good vibe every weekend. So.
And it's still the same thing today. I'd still
BB Sundays.
Yeah,
I ain't been there yet.
It's that backyard.
I heard. I gotta check it out though.
No, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. They're doing really well. We've had a lot of we had Boosie. We had a couple people. It's actually so funny we brought this up because I actually planned on having and throughout this I was gonna put one of my commercials was gonna be me at when I was working. Okay. And again we'll put in one of your videos as well. Okay. But yeah, that's great.
I gotta check it out. My birthday's actually coming up, so that might be a little vibe.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot. It's such a good time. Truly, yeah, it's a really good time.
But I don't like the ball alert. I don't need all that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm low key.
Okay. So just slide you the bottle, kind of thing. That's fine. So, we could even put you up on the balcony. That's a little more low key. Yeah, it's a little more low key up there.
I'm cool with it.
I got y'all. We gonna have some fun. But yes, I do bottle service over there, y'all. So too, let me know. But yeah, sorry we got sidetracked with that one. So before we switch over to fully into you training, do you have any advice you would like to give any former college athletes in terms of considering career options? So like you just had mentioned, security, would you suggest that's a good option to get into? Like career path-wise, just for maybe not obviously long-term, but just something to keep you on your feet for the time being. Do you have any advice in that?
My biggest advice is, especially for young adults, like where you are in your life right now, like it's about cash flow. So whether it's security, whether it's picking up trash, get your ass out there and make some money. You know what I'm saying? Like it's too many ways to make money now. You know what I'm saying? So truly. Again, we all do struggle, and the reason we've been having this conversation is we're talking about the life after. So I know a lot of people have struggled with that transition, but the worst thing you do is just sit there and sulk. You know what I'm saying? You got to go out there and get it because time waits on nobody. Right. And time will do two things: either promote you or expose you. You know what I'm saying? A great man once said that. Time will promote you or expose you.
Say that one more time for the people in the back.
Yeah. So get out there and get to it. No excuses. And my biggest thing is life is all about experiences.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So go out there and gain experience. That's the one negative I'll say about sports, because we got to put all of our time into one experience.
100%.
And the moment that, like, we all know when it comes to sports, it's the 1%ers.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Only 6% of high school athletes go to college.
Right.
Right. And out of that 6%, only 1% goes to the NFL every year. So that you got a better chance hitting the lotto.
Yeah.
Making it to the NFL.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
literally.
you know, I definitely encourage guys, and I want to just continue to empower these people. Just get out there, man, and gain experiences. Like we are definitely more than athletes. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, playing multiple sports is a big part of it. You know, getting out there, being a part of different curricular things. Like I said, I sang. You know what I'm saying? Anything under the sun. I love to debate. You know what I'm saying? So spelling bee, anything I can compete in, I was all for. You know what I'm saying? So just get out there and try something. You know what I'm saying? And because again, at the end of the day, we're much more than just the athletes and running and jumping, and that's cool, pays bills. But it's going to end for everybody at some point. So
it ends eventually, truly.
So the sooner we can kind of understand how we want to pivot from there, I think is very imperative.
Right. It's just that's my biggest thing too about this, is just even have that, just opening that conversation, because I think again so many people just don't even know like what else they are good at, what they like, what they even want to do, what they're interested in. Right. I think a big part of that too is, like you said, your experiences. So one thing that's really helped me out too is traveling. Right. Throughout, because when I was playing, I was AAU and stuff like that, so I was traveling a lot. So I am blessed for that I got to travel a lot throughout basketball. But my biggest thing outside of that too, traveling has been something that has taught me so much, and being in so many different areas and learning so many different people. You know what I'm saying? That can help you on and off the field, court, whatever your sport is. You know.
So let's definitely come back to that point where we talked about us not knowing what to do.
Yeah. But
let's come back to that, because I think it's very imperative that we understand, like in our culture, especially for us, you know, it's Black History Month, so like I said, we definitely get to that. But in our culture, representation matters. You know what I'm saying? So for us, for our young, you know, boys and girls, they need to see more of us out here doing things other than sports.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? To even know that that's something that's tangible. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely
to even know that it's a thing, or even know that it's an option. Again, you do coaching, training, and there's plenty of other things that you're good at as well, but that are still within your sport. There's so much opportunity still within your sport, even if you're not physically playing or on a team as well. Definitely.
100%.
So back to we were talking about your training as well. So what would you say, you said it was kind of like already in your blood, but was there something kind of that motivated you to specifically get into training, or was it just your experience this entire time?
So again, training found me. I feel like I had a lot of the intangibles to be great. Like I'm passionate at teaching. Like teaching is a passion of mine. Okay.
So you genuinely love it. Like you have a passion for it regardless.
100%. So I have a passion for teaching. But I think what motivated me was to see, again, representation. My mentor, to find him in this space and to find the success he had, motivated me to say, I want to do that times 10. You see what I'm saying? Like when this thing is all said and done, I want to leave my mark on this industry of pass rush, and I want people to know, like, I was one of the people who helped elevate and continue to innovate, you know, just how we get after the quarterback. You see what I'm saying? So, again, saying that, shout out to my mentor, man. Former pass rush coach, now outside linebacker coach of the Baltimore Ravens, Chuck Smith, man. He played a pivotal part in who I am today, Chuck Smith. So that's my guy, man. That's the OG. Chuck he really innovated pass rush training, right? He played in the 90s, and he played in the era of football where he saw the transition. He saw football transition from run heavy to a lot of passing. Okay. So now that the quarterback is passing the ball more, he saw the gap from being able to teach guys moves against the quarterback. So, you know, he really innovated. There were people who were teaching moves before that, but he really innovated and kind of scaled this thing to the next level. And, you know, he's built Hall of Famers from Von Miller to Albert Haynesworth, Osi Miura. So, you know, his clientele list is on Aaron Donald. You know what I'm saying? It goes on and on. So, no, he was a pivotal part in my success, and still today. You know what I'm saying? I still lean on him and ask questions and call him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, whatever I get out there.
Is there something you would say specifically that he did? Was it something he did or said, like a specific moment at all where it was like you said, like the pivotal moment? Was it something he said, did? I know a lot of people have, or like look for mentors or people like that, but what is it that you were looking for?
So
we're at it.
30 minutes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Funny enough, my first group of NFL clients I ever trained walked off the field with me.
Right? Oh, wow.
So that mean they ain't even pay me.
Okay.
They ran off on the plug twice. You know what I'm saying? So I called Chuck and I'm like, dog, like I just trained A, B, and C. I got a lot of great content, but they tried me. You know what I'm saying? Like they just walked off the field and they didn't pay me. And he was like, Sensei, I'm gonna tell you, like, you got to get your money first. You don't wait. Like you need to set up packages. You need to do these different things that'll, put yourself in a place so you don't lose. So I think really him just encouraging me on the business side, really empowered me, and I was like, okay, I can do this. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But to this day, that still does fuel me a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
That they walked off on me. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah,
no, most definitely.
That was definitely a pivotal moment for me when he sat down with me. We got on Zoom, and he was like, I want to write some stuff down and show you. And he taught me a lot on the business side, as well as what we do in this industry of pass rush, but more so on the business side is where he was the biggest help for me, and just learning how to make money. And one thing he stressed to me was you got to teach people how to treat you. You know what I'm saying? We're in a service-based business, and a lot of the times people associate higher prices with a better value. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So not settling for what I thought I was worth, but really just understanding what I was worth, and just how to be able to capitalize on that and monetize it, really.
Right.
So, it was big. Definitely. It was big, yeah.
So we're actually gonna go on a commercial break, y'all, real quick. But to get into that, when we get back from the commercial break, I do want to get into the business side as well. We'll get into how you start your business and things of that sort as well, and networking, all of that as well. So we will be right back, y'all. Commercial break, and we'll be right back.
First time in the UK, man, it's been a great experience to get out here and work with these guys. I find a passion in developing, so it's been amazing the past couple of days, and I love the opportunity to get out here and get in a different country and teach these guys what it takes to be successful in the NFL. So our objective over these past 2 days was I wanted these guys to define who are they as pass rushers, right? So everybody has a different toolbox, so I want them to know what they do best and understand what it takes to be successful and get to the quarterback. So I wanted them to define who are they as a pass rusher.
Alrighty, and welcome back. We are back from our commercial break. So to get back into what we were talking about a little bit, so we got into your transition with training. We were talking about what kind of motivated you and stuff like that. So now can we get into the business part of it? So at what point did you, knowing you wanted to start training, when did that turn into like, let me make it a business?
So I actually had another training business. We started this in 2016. So me and one of my former high school teammates, we had a sports performance company. We worked together about 4 or 5 years. Him and I ended up splitting ways, and from that point is where I really wanted to just be more skill specific in the pass rush niche. So again, what we did before, we did it all. We did the strength and conditioning, the speed and agility. But as I started to brand Sac Sensei, I just want to be more specific and do the pass rush training. Now I kind of outsource and have a team where we have recovery, strength and conditioning. So I don't personally do it myself anymore. But I brought people in to be able to handle some of those services. But yeah, so I've really been doing this training thing since 2015, but I started to brand Sac Sensei towards the end of 2019. Okay. And during COVID, we really pushed it. Yeah.
So do you have any, because like you said, you were partnered with somebody before.
Right.
So do you have any advice for somebody, because I know sometimes, business problems and relationships and things like that. So do you have any advice for somebody considering starting a business with somebody, or that transition from working with somebody to then being on your own? Just a little bit of advice on that.
I would say really just understand the dynamic of roles is a huge part, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people struggle with that, coming into business with partners. Okay. Right, but just really being transparent and being able to delegate roles. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Okay. And this is what you're going to do. And this is why we come together and make this thing work. Right. But I would say that's the biggest thing. Understand, because, again, we don't want to both double work on the same thing. So really just ironing out and defining roles, I think, is very imperative when it comes into business with partners. Right. And then just being transparent. Being transparent about what works. If the role I play, I don't feel like I'm efficient, being transparent, but first off, being vulnerable, even say that.
Right, the communication piece needs to be there in the first place.
Pride is a devil. Right. A lot of people struggle with, just having pride and not being able to speak on those things. So being vulnerable, and then being transparent, I think, are two vital keys when it comes to business, especially when you partner with somebody.
For sure, for sure. And then any advice in terms of when you branch off on your own? I guess in terms, so another question I actually had too was in terms of networking as well. How important would you say networking is? Obviously when you're with somebody, but it's probably more important when you're doing it on your own.
Right.
How would you say, give me like a little bit of advice and just touch on the networking end of starting your own business as well? Yeah.
Man, I think you are as good as your network.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just really being intentional on building relationships. So getting into entrepreneurship, I think building relationships is a huge part, and also finding a mentor. I spoke on that a little bit earlier. You know, my mentor was a vital part of my success and where I am today, because having a mentor kind of helps you cut down that learning curve. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't have to make as many mistakes. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to try as hard. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of get some more direction. So for anybody, you know, in the entrepreneurship game, wanting to start a business, I would say finding a mentor. And that mentor doesn't always have to be in that same niche of what you do. Okay. But just somebody who has experience in business. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just understand how business works, and, you know, when it comes to filing taxes, or understanding how to receive the money, how to set up different platforms for marketing. So all those things I think are important. But finding a mentor and trying to get direction is vital, man. Because I would say I would be the Sac Sensei regardless. Maybe just not as fast. Okay. Without having a mentor. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So I think that mentorship program is very big, for sure.
Yeah, that's actually nice to hear from me too. You know, up and coming as well. I think that's something I'm trying to also debate between too. Is kind of like, do I do it all on my own? Is it like, do I, you know what I'm saying? Do I look to somebody older again, kind of find like a mentor and kind of follow that kind of step, that route as well. So thank you for that as well, because you have even helped me listening to that as well.
Sure.
But real quick, I'm going to stop this live so y'all don't get too much now. So back into training as well. Okay. I guess we'll talk a little bit about what you were talking about earlier too. So how many? No, not yet. I don't want to jump there yet. Actually, I'm like, hold on.
What does it mean? What does that stand for? What does it mean?
Okay, in general.
In general.
His brand.
Gotcha. Define what it means first.
Okay.
So that people can understand.
Right. So, and also, can you spell it for people as well? Can you
Sac Sensei, SACKSENSEI. So that's how I spell it. SACKSENSEI.
Okay. Yeah. So exactly. So what, like you said, thank you. What does that mean? Not even just to you, but what does that mean to you? And then what do you want that to mean to other people as well?
So first and foremost, black owned. Let's start there. You know what I'm saying? Like I take a lot of pride in being a black business owner, because I think, you know, where we are in our culture today in society, you know, back in the 60s and the 70s, there were way more black owned businesses. You know what I'm saying? So I take a lot of pride in just want to continue to you know, build a foundation on that and to encourage other people to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the true change for us in our communities and in our culture is having, you know, leverage. We have no leverage right now because we don't own much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So just continue to put the money back in our communities is big, and what we own. You know what I'm saying? So I think what does Sac Sensei mean? Like I said, start off as black owned. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm loud and proud about that. And then secondarily, I do it for the culture. You know what I'm saying? I do it for the guys who trained at the park who are underpaid. I do it for the athletes who don't understand what transition is and what they want to do next. I do it for the athletes who bust their ass every day, day in and day out, to try to achieve their goal. And then I would say lastly, at the end of the day, this is the job. You know what I'm saying? I got bills, I got family, so you know, I take a lot of pride in being a professional and doing what I can do to be able to provide for my loved ones. For sure. It's big, so yeah.
So speaking of being professional too, how important professionalism as well, and in terms of business, I know being in your sport and being you know, with your teammates and it's very different compared to when you need to, you know, put that suit on or put that face on and like just in general be professional. So do you have any advice in terms of professionalism in your sport for one, two, and then throughout your business as well?
Yeah. So I kind of hinted on that earlier. Like, so you got to teach people how to treat you. You know what I'm saying? So if you come off like, let's say I'm a young girl, I do nails. If you come off as the neighborhood nail salon, that's how people gonna treat you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when you hold yourself to a different standard, that kind of gives people an idea of what you stand for. So I think being professional is so huge, especially again in our culture. You know what I'm saying? And understanding, you know, there's a time and a place for everything.
Right.
And everybody can't relate to how we get down. You know what I'm saying? So just being able to understand how to code switch. You know what I'm saying? And when is the appropriate time to do that. And again, you know, just more so, just really teaching people, you know, what I stand for, and they'll only treat you. People only treat you and do the things that you allow them to do. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I definitely like to conduct myself at the highest levels at all time. Like being punctual is a big thing for me. You know, if you're on time, you're late. So, you know, just something as the smallest things of that are very important to me. So,
were you always that way, or was that something you learned? Was that a
always
learning
that way
process for you?
Mom.
Okay.
My mom was the most anal person, still is to this day at all time. Like we at every family gathering, we was the first family there.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
It was super annoying. We was the first family there.
Yeah.
I'm like, why we here so early?
Yeah.
Everybody even here yet.
Yeah. So it's kind of installed in you.
Yeah, it was installed in me. You know what I'm saying? And as a man now, I do see the value of being on time. Like it tells a lot about a person. So a person who's always late, you know, you're gonna kind of tell a lot about who they are and you know, lack of discipline. Right. So it is big for me. It's big.
Okay. So yeah, so like you said, that was more from installed in you from childhood in general.
No question.
Since I didn't play.
No question.
You didn't play. But speaking of that, into your character as well, getting back into your brand and the exact meaning of it. So give us a rundown on your brand today, on your company, what you do for athletes, how many sacks you're.
What does sacks mean?
Okay.
What is sacks?
What is a sack?
So on that, so for the people who don't know football as much, right? So what even is a sack? Okay. What even is that? And what, like, again, how does your position relate to what even a sack is?
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is a sack? So I think that's a good question, because to the average eye, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. The difference between a sack and a tackle. A sack is when the defensive lineman, the guys on defense, tackle the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage. What is the line of scrimmage? So if you watch a football game, you'll see a bunch of big guys on one side, a bunch of big guys on the other side. Right. The line of scrimmage is the middle between them. That line between them.
So big guys, the line
in between them.
Gotcha.
Correct. So our objective on defense is to get past the guy in front of me and tackle the quarterback before he throws the ball. Okay. Right. So that is a difference between tackling the running back. If we tackle the running back, so the quarterback gets the ball, he controls offense. Right. So there's a big guy in front of the quarterback. He hikes him the ball. He catches the ball, and he can either throw it or pass it. Throw it or hand it off to somebody. Right. If he hands the ball off to somebody, and I tackle him, that's not a sack. That's only a tackle. If you tackle the quarterback before he crosses the line of scrimmage, that's considered a sack. Okay. So, in today's NFL, sacks are worth almost $1 million. Okay. Right. So for every sack you get, you can almost say, I can earn up to $1 million on my contract. So that's why pass rush is at an all-time high right now. It's a premium. Like what I do is the niche of pass rush training is an all-time premium. Like defensive linemen can affect 3 different facets of football. We can affect the guy trying to block us. We can affect the quarterback. Then we can also affect the person he's giving the ball to. Okay. So that's why defensive linemen and quarterbacks are the 2 highest paid positions in football. Okay. Because the person who throws the ball and the person who tackles that guy, you know, are really the most pivotal in football. So what is a sack? When you tackle the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage, right? Gotcha. So to go back to your previous question, I offer a few different services for youth all the way to professional, right? We have 5 different core programs that we run every year, starting off with our pre-draft program. What is pre-draft? Pre-draft is when you finish your last year in college and you're preparing for the NFL. Okay. So you say, I played 3 years in college, now I want to declare for the NFL. Okay. Usually you find an agent, and an agent will pay me.
So that's how it works. Correct. Okay. So yeah, I want people to know too that you're not an agent, to know the difference.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, that you're not an agent, but okay.
Yeah, those are my guys. You know, I got a lot of good friends. But no, I'm not an agent. So the agents will pay me, and I will provide different services to prepare these athletes for the NFL Combine. And the NFL Combine is really the biggest job interview for football players, right? Like that's the biggest stage and the biggest evaluation process that you'll get in this game. Like every athlete who played football grew up at some point dreaming and aspiring to go to the NFL Combine. And the NFL Combine is a place where all 32 NFL teams get a chance to watch you work out. And based off of your film, how you did throughout the season, and based on your workout evaluation, they say, okay, I want to draft you based off of those two components. Right. So, so we offer, like I said, a handful of core services every year. Pre-draft was probably our biggest one. I got a great group of guys this year. I have 18 guys actually attending the NFL Combine this year that I work with. So I got a great group of guys, man. So I'm super excited for those guys to get out there and showcase themselves and and earn some money. That's what it is. Again, this is an evaluation. So I take a lot of pride in preparing these guys because you may never get this opportunity. Well, you won't get this opportunity again. You can only do the Combine once.
Okay, so only once.
Only once. But
is it the same for the NBA or no?
Yeah. Once you declare for the draft.
Okay.
Now there are other ways that you can get workouts.
Yeah.
But the biggest stage is going to the NFL Combine.
Okay.
Right. So
quick question.
What's good?
So when you do your training outside of the physical training, what other training methods do you use to make sure that you get your linemen or the people that come into your sessions right?
Right. Recovery is a big one. Recovery is huge, man. And what we do, if you can't make the club if you're in the tub. That's one of our biggest sayings. Like if you always with the trainer, then you got a chance to make the team. So recovery is a huge staple in what we do. Secondarily, I would say like the speed and agility, the strength and conditioning stuff, the physical stuff. And then I would say just continuing to give these guys resources to think within, right, and understand like the mindset, what goes into sports. Because I think having a therapist for just everybody in general, in life, but definitely for athletes is huge, man, and just really understand the logic and mindset that goes behind sports is another big one.
Truly.
And I try to empower my guys to understand, like every year we get a huge, great group of guys, and the first thing I tell them day one, everybody here has aspirations of getting drafted. Hopefully 4 of y'all get drafted. It's a number.
So you just you're keeping it straight up.
Straight up. Because I don't want to create any false realities for anybody, and understanding how this thing works. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you got a better chance to win a lotto than you do make it to the NFL. So I just try to give them that insight, because for me it's even bigger than just sports. Like my long-term goal is I want to just continue to motivate and inspire these guys and help them be better men. Right. You know what I'm saying? So we're all here together because of football.
So speaking of, you said you get a group of clients every year. So how exactly, well, advice also to people out there starting, just in general, people starting businesses. I think a big thing right now too, a lot of people are trying to start their own businesses. So I think a lot of people struggle with, even something I've struggled with too, is getting clients. So can you just touch a little bit on that as well? How you have incorporated clients over the years, and some tips and tricks as well.
So I actually took a marketing and branding course about 4 years ago, and I think that was a game changer for me. Okay. Because we all know, like the society we live in now, like marketing is king. Like everything is about marketing. Like we go to Publix and we buy a certain brand based on marketing. It may not be the best brand. So we're gonna buy it because we see it the most.
If that package look a little better, 100%. I've seen it a couple of times, I'm probably gonna get it. Yeah.
100%. So marketing and brand is important. So I think just getting into business and entrepreneurship, understanding marketing, understanding trends, understanding how to create like different brand like targets to how do you target people in marketing, and just understand those things. So I think having some type of background in marketing and branding is important. And obviously, start off in business, you gotta wear every hat when you first start. You know what I'm saying? As you continue to scale, then you can kind of delegate some things and outsource people to do things for you. But starting off, you gotta wear every hat. So I think getting the understanding and the background in marketing is huge for definitely for new people stepping into that space.
Most definitely. So I would to get into the marketing part too. So if somebody wanted to book with you, what is that process?
So there's a few different ways you can actually book. I have a website, sacksensei.com. Believe it or not, I get a lot of traction on Instagram and Twitter, right? Because that's the world we live in, social media.
Oh, Twitter too, really?
Yeah, social media is big. Yeah. So I get a lot of coaches that will reach out to me, college coaches, NFL coaches, and they say, hey, I got some guys I'd love you to work with. So Twitter, X, let's say X. Yeah. X. Whatever. I think those are some huge platforms because, again, the world we live in, we spend a lot of our time on social media, so I think that's a great place to market. Definitely. So for me, with my pre-draft program that we have every year, we get a great group between 20 and 30 guys every year, And for me, first we start off marketing to the agents. Okay. Those are people paying us. Right. So being able to market to them, and then I would say just being able to show people production. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Like in a service-based business, what have you done for me lately? Right. So that's the biggest thing. So just being able to show the production and what we do is a huge part of the marketing.
Because that's kind of just like the proof at that point. Yeah.
But believe it or not, word of mouth is probably the best marketing you can get. Word of mouth is the best marketing. So
it's kind of like a review. That's kind of like a 5-star review.
Just think about it. Yeah. You can see something on Amazon. You be like, that look cool. I might buy that. But your homegirl be like, oh, girl, I bought this. Oh, I'm on that. I already ordered it. It's on the way to the house. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, word of mouth is a big part of marketing and branding. And then I would say just being able to understand your target audience. You know what I'm saying? And the demographic of how to market to them. Like if my demographic was older people, then my marketing would be different. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's a big part, just understanding that. And then, like I said, just being able to show the production. And, I've been blessed and fortunate to work with a great group of phenomenal guys over the years. So I'm blessed for that.
Right. So also a big part of that, too, is probably the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. You are the company you keep. So you think... Like that's a big component. Like just in business, like you want to surround yourself around people who are already doing it. Yeah. You can't be around a bunch of people who are trying to learn it. You got to surround yourself around people who are doing it. So you continue to bounce ideas and really just learn, how business works. Right. So yeah, that's big.
So getting into that, how did the marketing and everything you were learning throughout that process as well? How did that get you into your pricing and as you made the comment earlier, you said that that sacks are in the NFL. Is it just the NFL in general that they're worth $1 million, or?
Yes. Okay. I mean, yes, essentially in the NFL is the biggest thing. Yes, because now NIL has changed. It's been created. So, I mean, guys in colleges, it's trickling down. Like if you go out there and you make play, like there's some guys NIL making $30,000 a month. You know what I'm saying? So essentially, it's making its way to college football as well. Right. For sure. For sure. But how did I get into pricing? Sure, I'm gonna be the first one to tell you I ain't cheap. So y'all gotta zoom in when I say that I ain't cheap. Okay. You know how y'all do that. So I'm not cheap, man. But for me, I would say just understanding my value and what it's worth. Like I spoke on earlier, one sack in NFL is equivalent to almost $1 million. Okay. So for me, for my NFL clients, if you want to join one of my group sessions, it's $300 a session. There's a 3-session minimum. And the reason that there's a 3-session minimum is because I can't help you in one session. Right. So if you're serious about elevating your craft and getting sacks, we gotta get the reps. And that's what it's all about. So there's a 3-session minimum. It's $300 a session. And our goal is my goal is to really to help you define who you are as a pass rusher. Because pass rushers come in all shapes and sizes. So you got some guys who are tall, some are shorter, some are quicker, faster, stronger. Right. So really, within this process, I want you to define who you are and what you do best. Okay. Right. So, with that being said, that goes into to production. You know what I'm saying? And my guys producing over the years have validated what I do. And again, for us as humans, creatures, like we only spend our money and time on things we value. Right? Yeah. So if you value what you do, then spending the money ain't a problem at all.
For sure. No, that's okay. That's a fact. One thing about it. So speaking of what we were talking about earlier. So somebody again in terms. So I guess I would say in terms of proof, right? So if somebody's trying to book with you and they're like, okay, but why? Like you said, you had the people that you worked with have produced for you very well, and like you said, word of mouth. But I would say, give me a little bit of stats and the players that you have. Have you brought players to the NFL? Have you had players that are in the NFL currently? How many sacks do they have specifically? Especially because I feel like your name is so, and your brand is so specific around sacks. How many sacks have your players had that have gone through you as well? Just a little bit of stats on that as well.
Yeah, so in 2024, we've accounted for 107 sacks this year. Oh, wow. So I have currently 44 active players right now in the NFL. Out of those 44, 23 had at least one sack. So 23 of my guys at least got one sack. Out of that 23, 12 guys got 5+ sacks. Wow. Yeah, okay. So that's big, man. I was very excited. I was very excited for those guys, man, because for those to the average fan, it may look easy, but to get to the quarterback is not easy task, right? And shoot, Patrick Mahomes is probably one of the hardest guys to sack. So, just getting to the quarterback is tough. So, again, out of those 23, 12 of them had 5+ sacks. And then out of that group of 12, 2 of my guys, shout out John Grenard for the Houston Texans, and shout out to my guy Bradley Chubb. Both of those guys had double-digit sacks this year. So I think that's just a huge testament to the reps. For sure. Like I said, to be dominant is to be consistent, right? So you got to be able to show up and do the same thing day in and day out, whether that's practice or the game. And this great group of phenomenal guys put in a lot of reps over the offseason. So I couldn't be more proud of these guys, man. So from January to July, I'm on their ass. Yeah. Come August, I'm the biggest fan in the world. Like I'm out there screaming. I'm screaming at the TV. At the end of the day, this is what I do. But I've always been just a fan of the game. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? So, that still does live with me. So when it's game time, I'm sitting in front of the TV and I'm excited for these guys. Yeah. Every week. Every week, man. So it's a great feeling. No, that's good. Yeah, I bet because at that point you're kind of like watching all the work you've done. 100%. It's like you kind of get to watch it happen too. So that must be a really amazing feeling. So again, congratulations. And I'll be texting the boys halftime too. Okay. I'm like, bro, come on, dog. Like, you're one of those trainers. Oh yeah, I'm super anal about a lot. You tell them, you think they be seeing it or not? Oh yeah. Some of them don't respond. Yeah. Some do. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I'm texting them halftime, whatever insight I can give them, whether it's their approach and the angle they're taking or the moves or just whatever I can give them to a little cheat code. Right. At that point, I'm always willing to do it. No, for sure. So getting into your players currently that are in NFL and stuff like that. So I actually, Life After Podcast, thank you guys again for tuning in. Another so a little segment I wanted to start getting into is kind of like a current events topic, a little tea time depending on the topic, but so let's get into a little bit of current events. Like you said, we're talking about some of your players that are currently in the NFL around the season. As of we're recording today, so the Super Bowl is tomorrow. Tomorrow. But there is a couple, current controversies going on within the NFL, females involved, things of that sort. Right. So one thing that's been really trending, I have to just throw it out there real quick, is what is your opinion and your thoughts on Taylor Swift kind of? I knew it was about Taylor. Come on, dog, this is football. We talking about Taylor Swift? Just a little bit. Shout out Taylor Swift. So we can talk about Taylor. What? Go ahead, lay it on me. What is it? What about Taylor? So what are your thoughts, as an NFL trainer, But, what are your thoughts on Taylor Swift kind of making Travis Kelce, relevant in the football world? I think Travis Kelce was relevant before Taylor Swift. Let's just start there. He's one of the greatest tight ends that ever played the game. So let's start there. I didn't really know who he was until, Yeah, Travis Kelce is one of the greatest to ever do it. But I think we live in a capitalist country. Right. So we're capitalizing off them dating, which is getting them more views. Right. So, hey, I ain't mad at it. Okay. I'm not mad at it. I get it. I get why they're doing it. I get it. And I bob my head to Taylor a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad at that. Oh, okay. I'm a lover of all music. So you listen to a little Taylor Swift? Yeah. Again, I'm a lover of all music. I appreciate all music for what it is. So I'm cool with that. Okay. I was really just playing. I know Travis Kelce has had, he has his stats and stuff like that, but I know that's been a big controversy around, so I just had to bring that in there a little bit. Give me 1 second, let me end this. And, so, speaking on that, do you think, I feel like she has, I genuinely feel like a little bit, though, she has, from stats I've seen, she's brought a little more attention to the NFL. Yeah, I think she brought a new crowd to the NFL, for sure. Okay. I think there is a genre of people who didn't care much about football, but they care about Taylor. So I think they're interested now. So I think that's good for the game of football as we continue to expand. So that's another thing. I'm an NFL consultant as well, so I work with NFL. And that's one of our biggest initiatives. We want to continue to brand football throughout the country, throughout the world, actually. You know what I'm saying? So we just held a regional combine in London a couple months ago. Oh, wow. So that was dope. London known for fish and chips, so I was out there. It was cool. Vibes. Yeah. That's our initiative. We want to continue to, brand football worldwide and kind of get more players throughout the world because there's been a great group of guys not from the U.S. who've come to the NFL and made a lot of noise. So that's what we want. We want to continue to give these guys opportunities to get a chance to play in the NFL. No, that's really cool. And again, too, you get to travel as well. So that was nice. You said you enjoyed your time in London. I did. It was cool. No, that's really cool. And then
what are your current thoughts with, again, the Super Bowl? It's Saturday, so the Super Bowl's technically tomorrow.
Super Bowl's tomorrow, okay.
Yeah, so any thoughts, comments, concerns?
So it's tough. I've never had favorite teams.
Okay.
Right? I'm a Dolphins fan because it's the home team. So shout out to the Dolphins.
Okay, so you are.
I'm a fan because they're the home team.
Okay.
The Dolphins, unfortunately, haven't been relevant, until the last couple of years.
Right.
In my entire life. So it's been tough. It's been tough. But shout out to my guys, dog. Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips. You know what I'm saying? These boys, they brought Miami back. To what they're known for. You know what I'm saying? That undefeated 1972 season, Dan Marino. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a lot of hype around that. So I think we've kind of gotten back to creating that culture. So I'm a Dolphins fan. It's the home team. But again, I work with plethora of guys throughout the NFL, so it's hard for me to have a favorite team.
Right.
But I do like the Dolphins. My mentor coaches for the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a Dolphins-Ravens fan.
So you really can't say like you have a specific team. You really can't because you work with so many different people.
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get a job, so I can't say nothing about a team because God willing, within the next year, I'll be your favorite defensive line coach. That's what I want to take this next step.
Okay.
I definitely want to coach the NFL. As a position coach.
Okay.
So God willing, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But Super Bowl, shout out to my guys from the Kansas City Chiefs. I got 4 clients actually, and Joe Cullen. Joe Cullen is the defensive line coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. Great friend of mine. So good luck, Joe. I'm supporting you guys all the way. But yeah, shout out to Joe Cullen. Shout out to Derek Nandy. Shout out to B.J. Thompson. Shout out to Jack Cochran. Shout out to Chris Jones, man. So I got a great group of guys that I know.
That's 4 clients that are in Super Bowl this
coach,
year.
That I'm cool with. So yeah, Joe's a good guy. So I'm excited for them. So I don't have a team that I want to win.
Right.
But I just want to see a good game. Honestly, I don't care who wins. I want to see some good football. Being a fan of the game, I think that's the most important. Just getting a good game out of it. You see what I'm saying?
Definitely.
I don't want to see no blowouts.
Okay.
I think last year, who played last year? I think it was a blowout, right? Was it last year?
I don't know. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna like I know.
It wasn't a blowout. It was a good game.
Chiefs Eagles.
That was actually a great game, actually.
Yeah.
Chiefs Eagles. So hopefully we see something like that. You see what I'm saying? So I'm excited for the Super Bowl. It's always a great time. Football brings everybody together.
Right.
So yeah, it's always good vibes.
No, that game specifically too. Love watching it. The halftime performance always goes crazy. It's a lot of fun too. Yeah. Great marketing as well.
Shout out to Usher, man. Big Usher about to do the thing. You know what I'm saying? So
I ain't gonna lie. I don't know if he's beating Rihanna though.
You don't think so?
Riri, that was the big thing. That was such a big deal.
Who's a bigger artist? And this does not dictate that answer, but who's a bigger artist you think? Usher or Rihanna? That's a tough question.
Usher.
Usher?
He got fan bases, like every male don't like Rihanna. I know a lot of males that don't listen to Rihanna, but I know a lot of males and females that listen to
love Usher.
And he could but I mean that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
The numbers are the numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
so,
true. That's a good question. What you think?
Facts.
Ooh. So my initial thought was Rihanna. What I initially said was Rihanna. That's what I went to. But once you broke it down a little bit, I see why you could say Usher. I feel like Usher has more of an older fan base, so that's what gives him more credit, if that makes sense. And then he also has the younger dynamic too, where I feel like Rihanna is more one specific audience.
I get that.
Not one. I guess age group. I would say her age range isn't as big as Usher. Yeah, for sure.
I think people love Rihanna because of her other brands. Like how they do with
True.
Kylie.
I was gonna say definitely more the females.
What is it, 50? What's the name of it?
Yeah, 50, yeah.
Yeah, so believe it or not, I just lost my train of thought.
We're talking about Usher and Rihanna.
What I wanted to see, so you remember how they were doing the verses?
Yeah.
I wanted to see Usher versus Chris Brown. That's what I wanted to see. Because they can go hit for real. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people be like Usher off the rip.
Yeah.
But bro, Usher and Chris Brown can go hit for hit. I ain't gonna lie to you, dog. Like, see Breezy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's
you're a Breezy fan.
I'm a Breezy fan.
Okay.
I said I was a singer. I was a singer.
Oh, so he would.
Yeah.
So
okay.
you were doing the
I was a serenader.
Usher
so I had to.
inspired Brown.
Exactly.
Usher inspired him.
No, I agree. That.
I mean, but look how many you always have people that your apprentice sometimes, take your position.
100%.
But it's still, I feel like, like you said, back to the inspiration. That was so inspiration at No question. With too.
If anything, Chris Brown is always gonna take his hat off from type shit.
Okay.
And you feel me? Because you can always be better than your mentor.
Right. I feel like that's kind of the goal sometimes too.
If I'm a mentor, I would expect you to be better than me because there's mistakes that I made that I didn't have that person there for. So I'm not gonna let you make those mistakes.
Right. I feel like that's a genuine.
You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. If you do make the mistakes, that's because you didn't want to take my mentorship how.
So off that point, that's one thing Chuck told me years ago. He was like, "Bro, you and one of my close friends, he's in his industry as well, Dez. He was like, man, you and Dez gonna be millionaires." He told us this years ago, and he was like, the reason why, because I've already created the steps for you. You just gotta go ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying? So, I agree with that. That's big time, man. Like, you should aspire to be better, and you should be because somebody laid the path. And like I said, having mentorship is a vital key because it helps cut down that learning curve.
No, definitely, most definitely. So to get back into current events and things like that, we did speak on. So this month it is Black History Month.
It is.
So to talk about that, to just get into that a little bit because that it's very important as well. So one of my questions to you would be, what does it mean to you being a Black man? What does that mean to you?
Oh, that's a great question. What does it mean to be a Black man? Wow, I think it is empowering, first and foremost, to just wear that crown. You see what I'm saying? Because many are picked, but only few are chosen. You see what I'm saying? So I think just in itself, being a Black man in the United States, in this current society we live in, I think is big. And I think we owe it to our culture and to our people to continue to aspire for more, right? And that goes to one of the points I talked about earlier, like representation matters. Like, and that's something we talk about a lot. And our kids, our youth, they got to see us in these spaces. But not only do they have to see us in these spaces, they have to see us be genuine. Right. Because if we feel as if we've been successful, we made it, and now I want to conform to what society says I should look like or what I should do, I think that's where we've lost. Right? Because Black kids with braids need to see us with braids. They need to see us with tattoos. You know what I'm saying? They need to see those things in order they can relate. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because I think especially growing up in communities like I grew up here in South Florida, you may see a Black guy on TV with a suit, but shoot, that's Uncle Tom. You know what I'm saying? I can't relate to that. You know what I'm saying? But seeing more people in our spaces who are genuine and really, being intentional about representing us and what we do, I think that's big, man. So I definitely want to use, just a little bit of time, but it's just talk about how important that is. You know what I'm saying? Because I talked about that with my pre-draft group, and we had similar conversations over the past week, and then we talked about what does it mean to be Black, and I had some guys who they didn't know, and I think it's sad because we don't understand our history. Yeah. And I think that's where it starts. As we continue to learn and educate ourselves on our history, then we can be pissed off. We ain't even pissed off yet. We're not even mad yet. You see what I'm saying? Because we don't know. You know what I'm saying? And to whatever extent, that's the goal, for us not to know. You see what I'm saying? So as we continue to educate, our communities, I think that's a big part of it. Right. Just understanding, like I said, for those of you who have these platforms, understanding representation matters, and we gotta get our community to change our priorities. Yeah. I think that's probably our biggest downfall, man. Is our priorities suck, and I know we were enslaved for many years, and recognition was the last thing that we had. We were never recognized, and I think that's what we search for now is recognition. That's why we want, again, Chrome Heart. That's why we want Balenciagas. That's why we want the Bentayga. You see what I'm saying? It's to show I got money. Right. You know what I'm saying? But we got to shift our narrative and how we look at what matters in our society, because again, we don't own nothing. So not only do we not own anything, we're spending all the money we make and putting it in other people's pockets.
Yeah, just putting it into those companies that everybody else
100% different communities. And I am the first person to say I don't see color, right? So whoever does the best work, I'm all for that. Right. But I think we do owe it to ourselves to put money back into our own communities. 100%. Right? Because people put our time in things that we value, right? We put our money and our time in things that we value. So we have Black designers. We spend all this money on all these other designers. Why can't we put into what we do? You know what I'm saying? Put those money back in our community. So first off, we got to stop. We have to stop looking for recognition. And then I think secondarily, the biggest thing is we got to stop competing. You know what I'm saying? I think we're the only culture that competes day in and day out with each other. You know what I'm saying? I think as we continue to work together and build community, I think that's the next evolution for us in our culture. So I think that's where we start.
For sure.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed a lot too is that's missing in the Black community, for especially when it comes to Black men, is mentors.
Oh yeah.
So I was talking to somebody one day. They run kind of like a Big Brother group.
Okay.
And they had said that out of all, I think it was like maybe like 30 older men that had showed up, and it was like out of all of them, there was only like maybe 1 to 2 Black men that had showed up. And I think the demographic of kids was the demographic of kids was like a bunch of young Black kids actually, and it was only ended up being like 2 Black mentors. And I guess my thing would be, why do you think that is? I think you touched on it a little bit, but I want to know your answer specifically on why do you think that is, and what about you made it, because you very much are a mentor, right. You know, so what for you is kind of gives you that drive that made you want to do it compared to a lot of people in the Black, a lot of men in the Black community that haven't done that?
I think it goes back to the point I'm saying, it's competition, right? Most guys who come up in our communities who become successful don't want to give the sauce.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? They
so
don't
kind of just really just gatekeeping at that
100%,
point.
100%. And again, the only way through is to build community. So the only way we're going to make anything out of what we do, we got to come together. But it's so much of, I want the recognition. I don't want to tell you how I got here. Figure it out on your own. You see what I'm saying? So for me, I wouldn't be here where I am today without that, without that support or those resources. So, you know, my end goal is to be able to, you know, empower as many people as I can and put them on game. You know what I'm saying? And in whatever way. And I think for us in our community, we don't read enough. And there's so much power and knowledge in books. So, you know,
what
just
kind of books?
That was going to be my question.
I'm a big, I love self-help books. I love self-development.
Okay.
Right? I'm a big guy in self-development because I have a growth mindset. So I'm always looking to get bigger, better at whatever I do. So one of the greatest books that I've ever read was called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Oh, I've heard of that. It was
one of the greatest reads I've ever read in my life. And it really shifted my paradigm and how I look at life. So really just educating ourselves. I think, again, in our communities, first off, majority of us don't go to college. Yeah. Right? Let's just start there. The ones who do, we stop educating ourselves when we leave school. And I think that's, you know, another evolution for us is to continue to educate ourselves. And like I said, I love, you know, I'm not really, I don't like to read stories too much. There's a few books that I read that are like storytelling, but for me, it's all about self-development. Right. And learning, you know, how people found success. And it's very intriguing because everybody's success story is the same.
What do you mean by that?
Everybody has a different path. So for me, it may be entrepreneurship. For LeBron, it may be basketball. For somebody else, it may be, let's say, business and selling cars. So we can be in a lot of different avenues. Yeah. But I think what defines success is planning is a big part. And I think that the more that we understand that, you know, sometimes we can have a plan for our lives, but life can have a totally different one for us. So really being obedient to the opportunity, I think that's a big one. But really planning is huge. Like if you don't have a plan for your time or your money, somebody else will. So really, you know, really having a plan, I think, and being intentional is big time. That's good.
For sure. And then I would say, just real quick on that too, how do you separate learning from like in the school, like in the Black community too? I think a lot of the things that, like, you know, like you said, a lot of us don't end up in college and things like that. So I think a lot of it is connecting learning to like school. So like any type of learning or education, they connected to how they were learning in school. So how did for you? How did you make that disconnection, if that makes sense?
Well, for me, life is shit. Life is the greatest teacher there is. So understanding that and then having experiences. Like I said, experiences is probably the most vital thing in life. Like people who have lack of experiences, I feel for them because you may get them at some point. Yeah. But I'd rather go through certain things as a young adult than an adult. I'd rather go through certain things as a teenager than a grown man. You know what I'm saying? So really just the experience in life. My experiences in life have shaped, you know, how I've gone about learning. And I think that's the greatest thing about learning as an adult. Nobody's testing you but life. And life is the biggest test. So really just it's self-paced. It's no race. So that's the thing about school. School is competition. We talk about valedictorian, the greatest in the class, but at the end of the day, like, everybody learns differently. And because you're the valedictorian, that doesn't mean you're going to be a CEO.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So really just understanding as an adult, as you continue to educate yourself, it's self-paced. And it's not a rush, it's not a competition, it's a marathon. And the goal is keep trucking.
Right.
Laps, keep getting those laps in. You see what I'm saying? So that's a big one.
Right. So we're getting into that. So we can get into the end advice and things of that sort as well. We can start wrapping up the episode as well. I do want to say thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for coming. Thank you guys again for coming as well in the background as well. Thank you guys for your input. So I always like to end the episode with just your last piece of advice for this one specifically too. Do you have any last words of advice for athletes out there, whether it's business, just sport in general? Any last words of advice?
Find purpose. Find purpose, because a life without purpose is you just out here living. You see what I'm saying? Like, and there's a difference between, let me not even say that, you're just out here existing. Right. Because there's a difference between existing and living. 100%. So I would say find purpose, because this game is not always it's not going to let it end for everybody. There's an expiration date. So find purpose in what you do, and be faithful. Like I said, I wouldn't be where I am today without my faith. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's a journey. You know, I wasn't always faithful. I wasn't always religious. I wasn't always in a place to be able to communicate with God. But I think really just finding that peace within me and building that relationship with the Holy Spirit was big for me. You see what I'm saying? So, because it ain't like, you're not always going to be motivated. You see what I'm saying? So having that discipline, having that consistency, and I think, you know, putting those things together is a recipe for success. Because success is dictated off what we do today. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I said planning is so important. For sure.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Purpose.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And then my last thing to my last word of advice with that being said too, is with you being on this episode today specifically, I wanted to really focus on the fact that there's so much opportunity within your sport. Even if you are no longer physically playing, if you're no longer on the team, you are a great example of somebody that you're still doing so much within the sport you were playing, even though you're no longer physically playing. You know, I feel like you're a great example of that, and I just want to say thank you again so much for coming.
No, that is a pleasure.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. So with that being said, we're gonna wrap this episode up. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is another episode of the Life After Podcast. So yes, leave all your comments below, like and subscribe, and we will see you guys soon. Stay tuned. Bye, y'all.
All right, it's a wrap. That was good.
Did it.
Did that.